We have friends that I've been really upset because they've been like, Kobe was like a father to me, which that also doesn't make sense. That's also Ari saying the wrong thing, but that's also insane. On the other side, to say this guy's your dad, when you have a dad, you can't. He's not your dad. It's what it is. He's an iconic figure, and I get that everyone's processing it in different ways. But there's people I've seen on Twitter that have been like, he's like a member of my family. What? Huh? I'm lost. But I do get the importance of the guy, and now I think people are. His parents have been doxxed. People are calling in bomb threats to the venues he's performing at. I mean, it is, the internet, they get it popping. They really do. I mean, they don't waste any time trying to dismantle your life when something like that happens. I remember when Dina Hashem made a joke about XXX Tension, the rapper, and she had to make all of her accounts private because, like black emo teenagers were threatening to kill him or something. I don't know who that guy's fan base was, but I mean, hey, I get it. I've made a few jokes about Billie Eilish, and people have heard, young goth women have, surrounded me, to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, and I've taken many a beating for that. I've taken some body blows for. I'm just not a huge fan of the music. That's all. Ari is a funny guy. He's been a good person to me. As another comic, he's always been somebody who's looked out, I think, for comics. He's introduced me to people. He showed my stuff to people. He is not, but I do understand why people. I'll never understand why somebody doxes someone's parents. I mean, I'll never understand why somebody goes online and tries to, like, people that had nothing to do with this. Like, Ari's fucking parents survived the Holocaust. Like, they had nothing. I think his dad survived the Holocaust. Like, they had nothing to do. It's not like his dad's texting him what to say about Kobe Bryant. So it's so absurd that anybody would do that. That being said, I know why people are angry and upset about it. And, hey, I mean, I think that we should all choose our words carefully when someone has died. That is a beloved figure. You gotta choose your words carefully. Now, I have a video where I say that Meghan McCain will only have sex with her father. And I say that she'll fuck his corpse. She'll fuck his corpse. Got it. And that's a video I have, right? I say that Meghan McCain will only have sexual relations with her father's corpse. So, and it's like, fun. It's like a funny video to me. I understand maybe why somebody, but I didn't do it the day he died. But I'm clearly not going to get on like a moral high horse about like what type of things people can say. I'm sure there's things that I've said or will say that might get people, What are you going to do? I mean, I wish him the best. I've kind of been not paying attention to this as much as, I should, or I really should. No one should pay attention to anything in my book. Just fucking turn it off. Turn it off. I've been watching real estate shows for the past 72 hours. I've been watching real estate shows based in LA, $1 Million Listing, Selling Sunset. And what I like about these shows is they're not about anything. None of the characters are particularly memorable. They all try to be. That's the thing with like these reality shows. They try to be quirky or different, but they're not. The only reason people watch these is it's real estate porn, and they shoot the houses so beautifully, and everything about LA is sun-drenched and gorgeous. And then when you walk around LA, even some of these nice houses, they're just boxes and dirt. That's what a lot of them are, especially when you go up to Hollywood Hills. They're just concrete boxes that someone stuck in a mound of cat litter, and they put little infinity pools outside, and everybody pays $10 million to live there. But it's really, when you see it, it's not nearly as impressive as this beautiful, seductive style of shooting where, because Ben always tells me, oh, we can't shoot in the middle of the day because it's too sunny. But somehow the Bravo team has found a way to like it's sexual. And so why is that? Why can we never do it, but they can do it? Is it because their equipment is better?
Well, they have a $40,000 camera. You know?
So that's what. Why do you talk like that?
Well, how am I talking?
You don't talk like that in real life. You have 40,000. I didn't talk like deep and.
I listen back. I don't think I sound like that.
You never speak the way you're speaking right now. I listen back. I don't think I sound. These fucking shows, they're so vapid. And they're not real. Like, none of the negotiations are real because the negotiations are all very like, you're at 10-5. You gotta find a way to get to 13. You gotta find a way to get to 13-5. We're a million apart. It's too far. We're just too far apart. We gotta make a deal work. But the real negotiations, I feel like, are like, listen, this is all Chinese blood money. They can't get this amount of money out of the country immediately. You're gonna need to fucking take a few contingencies on this deal, okay? This guy's on the fucking run. He just poisoned a river. They want him for genocide, but he loves infinity pools. So he wants this property. But he could be in the UN criminal court soon at The Hague. I mean, they want him for torture. I mean, literally, but he adores this property. He likes the finishes. He loves the onyx table. He loves that it's got multiple exposures. He loves that it's one of the best streets in Beverly Hills. But you've got to give him some time to get the money out of the country because he's being accused of genocide. He's just being accused of genocide. But he adores that he can get 3,000 feet of outdoor living space because that's a lot to get. I explained this to him. While he was sawing off the arm of one of his political opponents. I said, will you just cut the buzzsaw down for a minute and listen to me? You're getting 3,000 feet of outdoor living space in the hills. This is big. No one gets this. Not for this price point. Because that's who's buying a lot of these properties. It's dictators. It's blood money. A lot of this is blood. That's why the real estate show should just be called Blood Money. It should be called Blood Money, and it should be about people talking about that they now have to sell these high-end properties to third world, the dictators of third world countries. That's what the show should be. It should be Blood Money. You should be like, there's a lot of powerful people in the world, and sometimes they have to leave their countries after a coup, but they love the sexy Los Angeles sun. So we're selling them hot properties. Sure, many of them have been accused credibly of genocide and poisoning entire races of people. But one thing they love is a nice view. So come on and watch Blood Money. They'll be like, the only people that can really afford these high, and it'll just be a realtor, it'll be like a good-looking realtor with like hot Manolo Blahnik shoes. She'll be sitting on Sunset Boulevard and she'll be like, you know, some of the only people that can afford these properties right now are murderers. I mean real murderers. I'm not even talking about OJ. I mean, they've done shit. I'm talking about biblical proportions. I mean, they have laid down hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. But they're coming in. Like Michael Bloomberg, I remember, like, delusional people think is going to be the president. Like, how nuts do you have to be to think Bloomberg has a shot? Or how rich? Because that's also, my friend's parents are very wealthy, and they're like, we like Bloomberg. And it's like, yeah, of course you do. So how rich or how insane do you have to be to think Bloomberg is a shot? Bloomberg said about New York City, he's like, bring all the billionaires. We want them all. We want them all. And like, you have to realize it's like, yeah, but some of them have done some dirty deeds. You know, we want all of the billionaires. So what? They've, poisoned people in their own country. They like shrimp cocktail. They like steak. Let them come here. We'll get them a beautiful penthouse. But that's what it should be called. It should just be called blood money, Selling the high, because that's what we're doing. We're just selling the rest of New York and LA to people, a lot of them who've earned their money by grinding people into a paste. So that they have the kind of money where they can come over here because they go, I ground everyone into a paste. Everybody's upset about it, but I want my kids to go to NYU. So I want to get some nice in Tribeca, My kids love Gossip Girl. My daughters love Gossip Girl. So I want to get something on the Upper East Side, My daughters are just huge fans of The Hills. They love, they just want to watch it. So, but that is literally, when I did this show on a tour bus in New York City where we rented out a double-decker bus and took it through New York, we would point out where these like Russian fertilizer magnates lived and these, Chinese amusement park tycoons and, Russian gangsters. And a lot of these people were gangsters. And I don't even mean, I'm not one of these guys who just says, oh, if you're a billionaire, you're necessarily a murderer. That's not the worst. By the way, I mean, you would, if you were throwing a dartboard, there's a lot, if you threw a dartboard if you threw darts at a bunch of billionaires on a board, you would hit a few murderers pretty quickly. But I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, you're necessarily like an evil guy. But a lot of these people that were just stashing their money in real estate in New York or LA were actually really like nefarious characters. They had, one guy that lived in the Time Warner Center had poisoned a river in Zambia. Like he was a mining magnate. I think his name was Anit Agarwal. He was a mining magnate, and he had basically, he was like, somebody who had done some really deadly things with the wastes that his like mine produced, and he was literally being accused of like a genocide, or at least like poisoning a river and killing a bunch of people. And then just the idea that, he came over to New York, and that's why he didn't want, this is why real estate in New York or LA is so attractive to these people, is that number one, they don't buy it under their own name. Like nobody gets real estate under their name, they get it under a shell corp. And a shell corp is a corporation that is formed usually for the express purposes of buying real estate. It could be for investing in a company. You could set up a shell corp to invest in a startup or something like that. Usually it's a corporation where you don't have like the physical address is different from your address, and it's not, you have to jump through a lot of hoops to find out who the shell corp is registered to. A lot of these people have addresses at Cayman Islands or whatever. It's a great way to just move money around. And when you're buying real estate in places like New York or London, half of new construction in London has gone to foreign nationals. A lot of it in New York has gone to foreign nationals. I think at one point in New York City, half of the real estate market was foreign national. Half of the entire market. And it bumped the condo prices up. The average condo price was like over $2 million. And you're like, well, why are all these people buying all this real estate? Because number one, it's a good asset. It's a hard asset. You can live in it. You can rent it out. But also, it's a great way to evade taxes. This is just a great way to get the money out of your country. It's a good way to get the money out of the country and hide it. And God only knows where you make it. Drugs, narco trafficking, human trafficking, narco terrorism. Could be just, good old fashioned, the Wild West of natural gas in Kazakhstan, where God only knows what's happening. It's like God only knows where the money's coming from. Nobody cares. Nobody in the real estate market cares. These people don't care. They're not asking questions. I get it. They're just not asking questions. You look at these people, you're making a lot of money, and they're just not asking questions where the money comes. They don't care where the money comes from. They don't care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to them. Someone sold Epstein that island. Someone sold him that island. There should be a show where realtors show pedophile billionaires islands. You know, and it should be called $1 Million Fisting. Where just, you know, realtors are like, it would start like this. It'd be like, there's a certain type of person that loves luxury, but even more than luxury, they love privacy. These are some of the top island brokers in the world. It's not enough to just have an apartment or a beautiful estate. These people need their own private island with a private heliport where they can go and come as they please and take whoever the hell they want there. Welcome to $1 Million Fisting. It would just be some chick who's like, you know, I trafficked to one of these islands as a girl, and I realized that I love real estate. I just had an eye for it, and I understood why the island was perfect. It was just private. It was in the middle of the Virgin Islands. I was just, you know, in love with the beaches. I loved that it was just, you know, I think it was about 75 acres. And, you know, it had several places where we could dock boats. And it was just one of those islands. So many of the traffic girls, unfortunately, you know, went into lives of crime or drugs. But I really just got into the idea of selling high-end islands to pedophiles. So that's what I do now. I know more islands than anyone else. I know the ins and outs of it. And it would just be a realtor just showing, you know, showing somebody around like an island, like Little St. James, and being like, you know, hey, how are you guys? Oh, it's good to meet you. How are you? Hello. Hi, Senator. How are you? I think what you really love about this island, I was listening to everything you told me, and I really started to think about it. I think this is really the perfect property for you. It's very private. It has a heliport right near the house. So there's not a long walk between the heliport to the house. And I know that's a concern for you, you know, because, you know, who knows what state people are going to be arriving in, okay? You've got great 360-degree views from your bedroom. So you can walk out on the deck and see who's coming in from where. And that's super important, you know? They've also got a lot of different boat slips here. It's a quick, you can make a quick getaway. It's really great. And I just think it's super, there's a lot of underground space, which I know is super important to you. It's super important to have underground space, you know? You can really construct anything here. We're talking about, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 square feet of underground living space with absolutely no light coming in. It's a very kind of medieval dungeon feel. I just think that's something that you guys would really like, you know? Price is about 30 million. I know it's a little more than you were looking to spend, but there is some wiggle room. This is owned currently by a Saudi prince, but he wants to get rid of it. He's upgrading his operation right now. And so there is a little wiggle room on price. So do you want, maybe, are you interested? Because I could just call him right now. Hi, how are you? Great. Listen, I have my client right here. He absolutely loves it. He adores the underground dungeon space. Okay, we're coming in right now at about $27,500. It's an all-cash deal, and you can close in 2 weeks. I don't know. He doesn't love that number. He doesn't love $27,500. I understand, but this is a qualified buyer. We're coming in all cash. There's no contingencies here. Am I calling someone? I'm calling one of my friends. I just think I'm lost my mind. But that's really what, like, that's where we're headed with, like, a lot of these real estate shows. And I just love them. They're hypnotic. They hypnotize you, and you just look at, and, you know, there's these, they're all coked out, these fucking realtors. There's this one British guy who's like, hey, look at this house. It's a stunning estate. It's a goddamn stunning estate. And you could just taste the chalk as it goes down his fucking throat. It's a stunning estate. I'm #1 broker here in the Hollywood Hills. But that's where we're at with television. It's just, we're all kind of being hypnotized and just looking at these, and nobody's going to own, like, the amount of money you have to own any of this. Like, none of it's even aspirational. You can't imagine it. You can barely, because it's so much money that it's like you're put at a safe distance from it. You could just kind of ogle it. It's porn. It's literally porn. You look at something in a porn, you go, I can't really do that. That's not something I can do, and I don't know anyone that can get in that position. It's just not going to happen. So you can appreciate it just from, like, you know, it's impressive, and that's what this stuff is. It's just real estate porn. That's why those Real Housewives shows were interesting to me, not because of the drama or any of that garbage. I just like seeing where rich people lived. And a lot of these people, by the way, and that's the great thing about real estate. You look at these real estate agents and you're like, these people have made money and they're retarded. So that does give you hope.
Yeah.
You're like, these people have, because you can't just be a hedge fund manager. Like you'd have to go to school. You can't just, but real estate's a job where you literally in the middle of your life, if everything else is fucking fallen by the wayside, you could literally go get a real estate license and start showing properties and you might be good at it. Real estate agents have social intelligence. They're not that intelligent. Being too intelligent is probably a negative to selling real estate. You have to be kind of a vapid person because real estate's vapid. You want like small talk. You know, you can't like mention, you know, it would be amazing to me to meet all these people every day and not mention that they all drove through a post-apocalyptic, like LA is just tense everywhere in tent cities. It would be hard for me to not mention some of that while showing them the house, but that wouldn't go over big because you got to pretend like that stuff's not even happening. It just doesn't exist. It's not real. Don't worry your little head about it. You know, one of my old bosses used to be like, don't watch the news. The news is not your friend. Don't watch the news. Don't live in the real world. That's not the place to live. You know, you would just be like, just go out there. But I've always, my fantasy life is selling real estate. My fantasy life is still a shitty life, which is great. I'm still some type of, like most people, like their fantasy life is they're the guy being sold the house. My fantasy life is I'm still a schmuck that's just selling high-end real estate to derelicts. Like that's the life that I think that I should live is just, you know, selling, because I always thought it would be, the commissions on these houses are $250,000, you know, $200,000, $180,000, life-changing commissions. You earn one commission on one of these houses, your life is changed. There's very few things you can sell where your life is changed after one deal. You close one deal, your life is changed. You sell a $5 million house, your life is changed. For most people. And that is what I always found interesting about it. It's like you could do it. You could just be at the right place, the right time. You know, I'm not saying it's easy, but there's a lot. You know, what I do is much harder. And that's not saying that there's a lot of people that work a hell of a lot harder than me. But I think it's just harder to entertain a room full of people for an hour than being hot and standing in a house and having someone fall in love with it and go, okay. And I know that's not all of what it is, but it's a lot of what it is. It's a lot of what it is. And obviously there's work that goes into it, but let's cut it out. Okay? These are brain dead people when you watch these shows. They're literally brain dead. Okay? They say the same 5 fucking things over and over again. It's a really unique property. You gotta look at the finishes. The finishes are well updated. There's 3 exposures. Look at the view. That's an outdoor living space. It's really great. You gotta jump on it now. There's a lot of interest. It's not, there's nothing, it's like agents. You meet with agents, they don't say anything profound. They're like, oh good, you're selling tickets. You should sell more. Thank you. Good, and when you sell more tickets, you'll be playing bigger things.
Yeah. Like that Gary V, the advice he gave to that TikTok girl.
Yeah. Yeah, he
remember
goes,
that?
he meets the TikTok girl. Gary V goes, she goes, what should I do right now? He goes, stay on TikTok. It's like, yeah, of course. Then she goes, should I go to YouTube? He goes, I don't know. Maybe you won't translate. Maybe you will. It's like, is this advice? I mean, literally, I'm asking. I'm not trying to just hate on him all the time, but like, is this literally actionable advice to give to another human being? Yeah, you know, the thing that you're doing is working, just do that. And then the other thing that you're thinking about doing might not work as well. But it's just, you know, it's a way to give people non-advice so that I just... Hold on. Did Swingers cancel my order again? I was saying my order was delivered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go check.
Let me check, yeah.
Just check.
You want to keep going?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going. I don't think it was delivered. I have criticized Swingers in West Hollywood because they run a human trafficking ring, and I'm against that. So I've criticized them, and I've sort of suggested that people rise up and, as vigilantes, burn the place down. But did we get it? Okay, we did get it. Okay, well, I mean, all right. Well, don't burn the place. I was just trying to get people to go burn the place down. Well, don't do that now. Don't do it now. Put it down. I don't want it now. We're doing a show. Sit down. focus. I wish I could play some of these videos for these people. That would really make the show a lot better. Can we edit them in post?
From the actual TV show?
No, from YouTube.
Which show? The $1 Million Listing or the ones you were showing me?
Just the ones I was showing you.
The like Long Island ones?
Yeah, because they're hilarious. Like, I want to show people the difference between, is there a way to edit a YouTube video into the, I don't know.
Yeah, but then I think they could pull the video because it's like copyrighted because it's on the channel. So I think YouTube can recognize that in an algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that true?
I think so. I can post a link to that one video you kept watching.
But
though.
it's not. We're going to do this again when we can. What do we have to do to get that to work?
Well, I mean, we need a switcher. We need an HDMI cable.
Yeah, we got to get the TV working because then we can show you some of the stuff. You know? We could show you that Ari Shaffir tweet on the TV.
Yeah.
Just so you knew, you know. Man, Ari, man, God love him. But, you know, hey, sometimes you just step in it. He just stepped in it. That's all. You know? I'm sure he'll come out of it. You know? I mean, what do? Do you double down? Do you go even harder?
Is that what you think he's going to do?
I hope not. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's probably taking a step back. It might be a good time for him to go on one of those sabbaticals he does where he goes to Tibet for a little while. Mm-hmm. Go and take a month. You know? Yeah. He does that. He'll disappear for a little bit and go, maybe time to just let the heat cool off. Let it cool off a little bit and then come back. You know? And buy a stunning estate. Stunning estate in Beverly Hills. Hey, new year, new you. The Tim Dillon Show is sponsored by Manscaped. And you know what else is new? The engineers at Manscaped have spent the last 18 months crafting the perfect ball hair trimmer. How much would you love to watch them do this on like the Today Show? And they've released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. Smooth out your scrotum with a new ceramic blade and Manscaped advanced skin-safe technology. That means it won't nick or snag your nutsack. Riff on shaving your balls. Okay. Well, this is now I have to riff on shaving your balls. You ever shave your balls and you're like, oh, fuck, I nicked my nutsack, and you just start bleeding all over the house? It ain't fun. The Lawnmower 3.0 has lots of upgraded features, making it the best razor system you've ever owned. Featuring an LED light so you can get in all those nooks and crannies. They've also juiced this baby with 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, so no one can hear you buzz yourself because it's quiet stroke technology. Battery now lasts up to 90 minutes, just in case you want to spend an hour and a half buzzing your balls. Can you imagine the person that spends 90 minutes working on their package? Can you imagine? The charging stand is now powered by USB. It couldn't be easier to use. If you have the Manscaped 2.0 razor, it's easy. You can use the same replacement blade from the 3.0. Upgrade yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code TIM at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com. Use the promo code TIM for 20% off your first order. Get Manscaped to keep your balls clean in 2020. Okay? Here's the deal. You need this product if you are a male or you identify as a male. You need to clean up your package. There's a few products like this. There's a Norelco Body Groom, and then there is this thing, the Lawnmower 3.0. The Body Groom is not great. The Lawnmower is a much better product. It insulates you from nicking yourself, cutting yourself. It is better. I use it. They send me a bunch. I've given them to friends. It is the highest tech on the market for shaving your balls. That's the way it is. If you're going to use a product like this, you might as well use this. Use promo code TIM. You get 20% off your first order. I'm telling you, you might as well. 20% off your first order. You're not going to get that deal with Norelco. You're not going to get that deal with any other razor. This is a professional razor. They've put a lot of thought into this, into how you can shave your balls for 90 minutes if need be. Skin safe technology, quiet stroke technology. I mean, what do you want? You should get this. It's a great way to get a great product. It's really, important that you use the promo code so they know that we're sending you to the website, that you're supporting our program. And it's also a great way to just clean up your package. A lot of people aren't having sex right now. They're just not having sex, There's too much porn out there. They're on SSRIs. They can't get hard. For whatever reason, they don't know how to talk to women. They're lonely. They're lonely people. And they're being radicalized online, on the dark web or wherever they go. Even on there's plenty of things on the regular web that'll get you going. So instead of doing that, instead of becoming a psychopath, maybe you should try to have sex with someone that you are attracted to. And that will prevent you from spending hours and hours and hours reading about the shapes of skulls. It's a thought. It's a thought. I don't know. Maybe it won't work, but it could. So I think it's a great way to just try. Just give it a shot. Manscaped.com, promo code TIM for 20% off your first order. Thank you. There's just, I said this on the Patreon the other day. I don't really get that upset with what people say because I know how cheap words are, and most people that are talking to you are lying and making things up. Most people are trying to make themselves sound more interesting by lying. They'll make up things that never happened to them and they'll say it. They'll tell you stories from movies that they think you didn't see and then try to pretend that they lived through them. This is how desperate most human beings are for any level of attention. They just don't care. So words to me don't mean anything. Literally, no matter what you say,